At Crescent Heights University, the Red Lipstick crew, Rhea, Layla, Jasmine, and Nia, rule the school. Beautiful, fearless, and feared, they crush anyone who gets in their way. But when a video mocking one of their heartbreak stunts goes viral, their power is questioned. To get it back, Rhea starts a new game. Each girl must make a guy fall for her, then break him. That's when Eli transfers in. Quiet, guarded, and not interested in their games, he becomes Rhea's target. But Eli isn't like the others. And what started as a game begins to feel real. Now the question isn't who wins. It's who survives the fallout. Welcome to her storyline, where secrets unravel, power plays backfire, and emotions run deep. If you love faceless drama storytelling, you're in the right place. Subscribe for more dark campus stories, powerful female leads, and emotional roller coasters you won't forget. Let the drama begin. The Red Lipstick crew walked through Crescent Heights University like it was their personal runway. Heads turned. Whispers followed. Eyes tracked every sway of their hips. Rhea led the line. Flawless, sharp, untouchable. Jasmine, Layla, and Nia flanked her like royal guards. 4 years, they ruled without question. They hosted the wildest parties, set fashion trends, broke hearts without blinking. But today, the energy was different. Phones buzzed. People giggled. Some stared, others looked away too quickly. On every screen, a video played. A guy they'd once humiliated, now turning the tables. He mocked their tactics, exposed their games, and called them what no one dared to before: bullies. The clip went viral overnight. Rhea's heels clicked louder, but her jaw clenched tighter. The crew kept walking, but the whispers hit like tiny cuts. "We don't lose face," Rhea muttered, eyes forward. "We take it back." And in her mind, a plan was already forming. That night, the girls met at their usual spot, a rooftop lounge, filled with music and flashing city lights. They always came here after a win. But tonight, silence filled the space. Rhea poured herself a drink, the ice clinking sharp. The others waited, tense, expectant. "No more harmless flirting," Rhea finally said, her voice cold and steady. "No more harmless games." Layla raised an eyebrow. "Then what?" Rhea looked up, her eyes gleaming. "We go personal." Jasmine leaned forward. "You mean?" "Each of us picks someone. A target. We pull him in deep. Make him think it's real." She paused. "Then we destroy him. Publicly. Brutally." A long silence followed. Then smirks. Nods. The sound of ice swirling in glasses. "Red lipstick never fades," Nia whispered. That night, a new game was born. Monday morning. Eli stepped onto campus wearing a simple hoodie, carrying a worn duffel bag. His eyes scanned the buildings, not for attention, but for direction. Transferred from a school upstate. No friends. No past here. He didn't dress to impress. He didn't seek the crowd. Just another face in a sea of students. But something about him was unbothered, detached in a way that made people curious. From across the quad, Rhea noticed. The way he didn't flinch when a football nearly hit him. The way he didn't glance at her or the others, not even once. "That one," she said, sipping her iced coffee. "He's mine." Jasmine snorted. "He doesn't even know who we are." "Exactly," Rhea said, eyes locked on him. "Which makes it more fun." Eli sat alone under a wide oak tree near the literature hall. His earbuds were in, low music playing as his pencil danced across a sketchpad. He didn't notice the stares, didn't care about the crowd. In a campus obsessed with image, he was just calm. The Red Lipstick crew passed nearby, heels clicking, perfumes trailing. Layla watched him, arms folded. "He's not reacting." Jasmine tilted her head.
Is he blind? No, Rhea said, her gaze never leaving him. He's different.
She stepped forward, brushing her fingers across her hair.
Time to make him see.
But as she walked away, there was something in her smile, not just confidence. Curiosity. This wasn't just another challenge. This one felt dangerous. The sun filtered softly through the trees outside the Crescent Heights University library. Students moved in waves, some rushing, some chatting, some lost in their own world. Rhea, as usual, walked with poise, perfect posture, carefully chosen outfit, and a confidence that made space for her without needing to ask. She didn't usually bump into people. But this time, it was planned. She turned the corner just as Eli did. Crash! Her book slipped from her hands and landed with a soft thud on the pavement. Eli, caught off guard, bent to pick it up. No dramatic pause. No extended glance. Just a quiet, polite motion. He handed it back to her, eyes barely meeting hers.
Here, he said plainly, already walking off.
No compliment. No smirk. No stammering. Rhea blinked. She wasn't used to that. Later that day, the girls gathered on the stone steps near the art studio, iced coffees in hand, designer sunglasses in place. Jasmine threw her head back, laughing. Wait, he didn't even flirt? No, wow, sorry, you're stunning? Not even a double take. Layla leaned in, intrigued. That's wild. He didn't look nervous. Nope, Rhea said, watching a group of guys pass by. He just handed me the book and left. Like I was air. Jasmine raised a brow. Maybe he's immune to charm. Or maybe he's broken, Layla added with a smirk. But Rhea wasn't laughing. She was watching. Ignore is the new flirt, apparently, she muttered. Let's see how long he lasts. Eli sat under the wide canopy of an oak tree, sketchbook balanced on one knee. He was drawing, not people, not faces. Just lines, shadows, buildings, motion. Crescent Heights had drama. He knew that much already. The whispers. The labels. The strange energy around that group of girls everyone either feared or worshipped. He had no interest in playing those games. His transfer was a clean slate. He didn't want noise. He didn't want fame. He wanted peace. But as much as he hated to admit it, he still remembered the sharpness of Rhea's gaze. The way she looked at him, not like she was offended, but like he was a puzzle she didn't know how to solve. He didn't like that. And yet, he couldn't stop thinking about it. The sky turned orange as evening rolled in, casting warm light across the quad. Most students had gone, leaving behind soft echoes of laughter and the occasional skateboard rolling by. Eli sat on the grass with his earbuds in, staring at nothing in particular. That's when she appeared. Rhea. No makeup tricks. No backup crew. Just her. She walked over casually, then sat beside him, leaving just enough space to not feel invasive, but close enough to be noticed. You don't talk much, she said, her voice smooth but curious. Eli didn't look at her.
Not when I have nothing to say.
She smirked. That's a shame. I was hoping you'd have something interesting. He turned to her, slowly. For the first time, their eyes met, direct, steady, unflinching. I don't know what you want from me, he said plainly. And just like that, the energy shifted. Her smile faded just slightly. It wasn't rejection, but resistance. A new type of challenge. One that didn't beg for attention, but questioned her motives. Rhea tilted her head. Maybe I don't know either. They sat there for a moment longer, silent, curious, and unsure of who had the upper hand. But both of them knew. The game had officially begun. Rhea had played this game before. She'd seen every version of the male ego, cocky, desperate, clingy, weak. They all cracked eventually. They all fell. But Eli? He was different. He didn't chase. He didn't flinch. And worst of all, he didn't care. Or at least, that's what he wanted her to believe. She found herself watching him during class, lingering just a second longer in places she thought he might be. And every time their eyes met, it felt like a silent dare. Was he really that uninterested? Or was he just better at hiding it than most? What began as a game was starting to feel like something else. Not quite attraction, not quite obsession, but something dangerous. Eli wasn't sure what Rhea wanted. Some days, she passed by without a word. Other days, she appeared like smoke, soft, mysterious, always knowing when he was alone. But he noticed the patterns. The way she positioned herself in the same study room. The way she smiled just before asking a question that didn't really need an answer. The way her friends stopped watching from a distance and started pretending not to. It wasn't random. It was choreography. And yet, every time she spoke to him, it felt real. Was she acting? Or had she spent so long playing the part, she didn't know how to be anything else? It was raining lightly. The kind of rain that didn't soak you, just reminded you the world could still be soft. Eli walked beneath the archway, waiting out the drizzle. That's when he saw her, alone, for once. No umbrella, no crowd. Rhea stood under a tree, hands slightly raised, letting the water kiss her skin. It didn't match the version of her everyone else knew. She wasn't posing. She wasn't performing. She looked peaceful. Eli approached slowly. "You'll catch a cold," he said. She turned, startled, then smiled. "Maybe." He hesitated, then held out his hoodie. She blinked. It wasn't a move. It wasn't a flirt. It was human. She took it, and in that moment, something shifted. Not between enemies. Not between players. Something human. That night, Rhea sat on her bed, holding Eli's hoodie in her hands. It still smelled like him, clean, earthy, calm. And for the first time, she didn't feel like she had the upper hand. He wasn't falling. He wasn't breaking. But she was thinking. Too much. "Get it together," she whispered to herself. This wasn't about feelings. This was about restoring power. About proving no one could walk away from her untouched. But deep down, she knew. This wasn't like before. Because she wasn't pretending anymore. Not fully. Rhea didn't understand it. Eli wasn't resisting her like others had. No desperate attempts, no empty flattery. But he wasn't chasing her either. He answered when she spoke, but his words were calm, measured, guarded. There was no rush, no need to impress. Just a quiet distance, like he was holding a secret space she couldn't reach. It wasn't coldness, exactly. It was something else. A steady barrier that made her skin crawl in a way she didn't expect. She found herself watching him, wondering why the usual tricks, flirty glances, teasing smiles, weren't working. For once, someone wasn't trying to catch her attention. Instead, he seemed to be deciding if she was worth it. And that uncertainty, that slipped right under her skin. Later, the crew gathered at their usual spot, lounging on plush couches in the student lounge. Jasmine flipped through her phone, barely glancing up. "He's boring," she said, voice low but certain. "No," Rhea replied quietly, her eyes distant. "He's balanced." Layla raised an eyebrow, leaning in. "Balanced? Sounds like you like him." Rhea snorted, rolling her eyes. "Please. He's just a challenge. A calm one." But something in her tone didn't convince Layla. She watched Rhea closely, sensing a shift beneath the surface. Because for the first time, Rhea's usual confidence felt shaken. Not broken, but stretched thin. and Layla knew the game was changing. After class, the next day, Eli and Rhea found themselves walking the same path toward the quad. The campus buzzed around them, but in that bubble, the noise faded. "Do you always keep your walls this high?" Rhea teased, nudging him lightly. Eli shrugged, his eyes steady. "I just don't like being figured out by people who haven't earned it." She smirked, intrigued despite herself.
"That's fair."
They walked side by side, neither pushing, neither pulling. No games, no roles, just two people, each carrying their own shadows, their own reasons for hiding. For a brief moment, something real flickered between them, and it caught Rhea off guard. That night, Rhea sat on her bed, phone in hand. Eli's name stared back at her from the screen. No new messages, no notifications. Usually, she controlled the game, deciding when to text, when to pull away. But now, for the first time, she caught herself waiting for him to make the move. That wasn't supposed to happen. The plan was clear: don't fall, don't show weakness. But the longer she stared at the screen, the more she felt the grip slipping. The game wasn't just changing, it was slipping from her hands. Nia was the first to notice the change. She watched Rhea more closely than anyone else, reading every flicker of expression, every shift in mood. It was subtle at first. A smile that lingered longer than usual after talking to Eli. A quiet glow in her eyes when she thought no one was watching. One afternoon, as they sat in the bustling cafeteria, Nia didn't hold back. "You're catching feelings," she said bluntly, her voice low but sharp. Rhea's smile faltered.
"No, I'm not."
Nia's eyes didn't waver. "Yes, you are. And remember, we don't do feelings." Rhea turned away, her heart pounding in her chest. "It's just strategy." But even as she said it, the lie tasted bitter on her tongue. Because deep down, she knew it was more than that. The art room was Eli's refuge. Sitting quietly by the window, sketchpad balanced on his knee, he lost himself in lines and shadows. A teacher paused nearby, watching him with a soft smile. "You've got talent," she said kindly. Eli nodded without looking up. "It's the only thing that makes sense." Crescent Heights University was supposed to be a fresh start, a place to leave the past behind. But instead, he found himself pulled into something complicated, something dangerous. The subtle ways Rhea's presence crept into his days, the quiet intensity in her gaze. He could feel the invisible thread, her grip tightening around his life. And he wasn't sure if he wanted to break free, or if he was already caught. Rhea smiled to herself as she casually mentioned to one of Eli's classmates that Eli had insulted him in the hall earlier that day. The words were pure fiction, but she wanted to see what would happen. Would Eli lose his cool? Would he lash out? Or would he crumble under pressure? She waited, watching from a distance. But Eli surprised her. He didn't say a word, didn't react. Later that afternoon, Eli found her alone by the lockers. He approached quietly, voice calm but steady. "You know," he said, eyes locked on hers, "if you want to push me away, just say it." For a moment, Rhea was frozen. He'd seen through her game, again. And she didn't know if she wanted to fight it anymore. That evening, the girls gathered on the rooftop, the city lights shimmering behind them. They raised their glasses in a toast to their next targets, whispers of plans, schemes, and victories. But Rhea barely heard the words. Her mind was tangled in thoughts of Eli, the way he stayed calm, the way he challenged her without trying. She had started this game, confident and in control. But somewhere along the way, the lines blurred. And now, she felt like a pawn in her own play, caught between strategy and something she couldn't name. The night stretched on, but inside, the war was silent and raging. Eli had started avoiding her, not with anger or fights, but with quiet distance. No confrontation, no drama, just cold silence. It hurt Rhea more than she expected. She stared at her phone, fingers hovering over the screen. One message, two messages. But he didn't reply. She tried to act casual, bumping into him at the library or in the halls. He greeted her politely, but his eyes held nothing. No warmth, no spark. Just polite distance. For the first time, Rhea felt it, rejection. And it hit harder than any game she had played before. Eli sat alone by the old fountain in the courtyard, his sketchbook open on his lap. The soft sound of water filled the air as he traced lines with his pencil. Rhea approached slowly and sat beside him, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know what I'm doing," she admitted, looking down at her hands. Eli stayed quiet for a moment, considering. Then he asked softly, "Do you always push people away before they can hurt you?" The question surprised her. She blinked, unsure how to answer.
"No one's ever asked me that before."
Eli finally met her gaze, his eyes calm but intense. "Well," he said, "I'm not like most people." For the first time, something honest passed between them. A fragile bridge in the silence. Layla and Jasmine exchanged worried glances. Rhea was changing. She was softer, distracted, showing cracks in her usual armor. "This isn't just a game anymore," Jasmine warned, scrolling through gossip on her phone. "We need to remind her who she is," Layla agreed, her voice sharp. The girls sprang into action, skilled at manipulation and power plays. Whispers started to float around campus, quiet rumors designed to unsettle Eli. Social media posts appeared, hinting at secrets and lies. Jasmine smiled slyly, watching the chaos unfold. They were turning the heat up, aiming to break him, and Rhea's fragile connection with him. One afternoon, Eli stared at his phone, heart sinking. His name was plastered across campus group chats, called an obsessed creep and stalker, rumors fueled by the crew's whispers. The words stung, but he knew exactly where they came from. Later, when Eli saw Rhea by the lockers, he said nothing. His eyes held no anger, only betrayal, a silent question of why. Rhea met his gaze, her heart twisting with regret. But this time, she didn't move to follow him. She stood frozen as he turned and walked away, leaving a space between them that felt impossible to cross. Weeks slipped by like falling leaves. Eli stopped showing up where everyone expected. No more late afternoons by the fountain, no more sketching in the art room. He walked alone across campus, head down, avoiding the crowded spots. He ate alone at the cafeteria, picking at his food without hunger. His voice grew quieter, fewer words spoken, like he was shrinking away. Rumors still swirled like dark clouds, but what stung deeper than the whispers was the silence. Rhea didn't reach out. Not a text, not a word. She didn't explain, defend, or try to fix what was broken. She just vanished from his world like a ghost. Maybe, in the twisted game they played, that was her final move, disappearing completely. The red lipstick crew sat at the top of their throne, but cracks had begun to show. Their power still lingered in the halls, but the magic, the bond that held them tight, was gone. Layla grew distant, her usual sharp eyes losing their fire. Jasmine stopped showing up to the weekend parties and gossip sessions. Nia drifted away, finding new friends who didn't need lipstick or masks. One evening, Rhea sat alone on the rooftop, a half-empty drink resting untouched on the ledge beside her. The music from a distant party faded into the cool night air, swallowed by silence. She looked out over the city lights, feeling the weight of what they had lost. This wasn't power anymore. This was loneliness, wearing lipstick and a cracked crown. One faithful day, they met by chance outside the library, the same quiet spot where their story had begun. For a long moment, neither moved. The silence between them thick with everything unsaid. Then Rhea took a slow step forward, her voice low and shaky. "I didn't mean for it to go this far." Eli's tone was steady, almost cold. "You mean the lies? Or losing yourself in them?" She swallowed hard, lowering her gaze to the cracked pavement beneath them. I wasn't trying to hurt you. I was trying to protect whatever control I had left. Eli nodded slowly, understanding but not excusing. You did hurt me, but not in the way you think. She looked up, confused by the softness in his voice. You made me believe we were real, even if it was only for a moment. They found a bench nearby, sitting side by side as the sky melted into shades of orange and purple. No teasing, no games, just two people stripped of their armor. Ria's voice was quiet, honest, and fragile. I liked you, Eli. Genuinely. But I didn't know how to stop performing. Eli looked at her with tired eyes. And I didn't know how to trust someone who held that much power over me. The silence stretched between them, comfortable and raw.
Finally, she whispered, I'm sorry.
It wasn't dramatic or perfect, but it was the truth they both needed to hear. Eli stood up slowly, brushing dirt off his jeans. So, what now? He asked, voice carrying a hint of hope. Ria shrugged, unsure herself. We move on. He smiled, half joking, half hopeful. No second chances? She gave a soft, sad smile. Not now. Maybe not ever. But maybe someday, we won't look at each other and only see what went wrong. Eli nodded thoughtfully. Maybe. Then he walked away, his steps steady but distant. This time, she didn't call after him. But she didn't look away either. Weeks later, Ria sat in her room, finger hovering over her phone. She deleted the old group chat, the last tie to the red lipstick crew. No announcement. No dramatic exit. Just a quiet, final end. She wasn't softer. She was sharper, more aware. Alone for now, and strangely at peace with that. Eli found his own rhythm, building a small circle of friends who saw him, not the rumors. Sometimes, their paths crossed on campus. A nod in the hallway, a glance across the quad. No bitterness. No regret. Just two people who once raged like a storm, and now were just memories of thunder. Some stories don't end with a kiss. Some end with clarity. And sometimes, that's enough. This story teaches us that power built on fear doesn't last. People who try to control others are often hiding pain. Not everyone plays the same game, and real feelings can't be forced. Sometimes, letting go is better than holding on. Forgiving someone doesn't mean going back. It means finding peace and moving forward.